Good evening. If this is working, I think we're live. A little bit earlier than scheduled, I'll be honest with you, but it doesn't really matter. Timing, it's not like we're running trains or anything. So hi, good evening. For those of you who are watching and don't know me, my name's Samantha. Hi, everyone calls me Sammy, which I think you can probably see down in that corner there. The idea of this project is to, rather than people just doing the guesswork, blog after blog or comment after comment, and indeed hearing the same things over and over and over again, I wanted to try and get something going backwards and forwards where we could actually open up a conversation and you could ask some questions, and I can do my best to answer them. At risk of, this whole thing seeming massively arrogant. God, I should have got myself a little bit tidied up. Sorry if it didn't really occur to me. If you're going to be on a public stream, you should probably tidy yourself up a bit. But anyway, at risk of sounding arrogant, this isn't the fact that I know everything. Far from it, and I haven't necessarily got answers to everything that you want to ask. But the point is I can share the benefit of the experience that I've had, and indeed the things that I've learned from some incredible friends and some incredible people over the last few years. So I'm open to hear what you want to hear, and I'm just looking down in the corner. If I keep looking away, I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to multitask. And we've had a couple of questions in already. One from Samuel. Samuel, hi, how are you? Who asked, what would I say has changed from my first year being out to my second year? Wow. Wow. I mean, in some respects, absolutely everything, but in other regards, not very much at all, which might sound a little bit weird. I think the main thing that's changed for me in the last year is that I've spent a lot of that time just learning about who I am and learning really how to let everybody else see who that is and how to let everybody else see my authentic and true self. And as that time has progressed, I've definitely found some long lost contentment and comfort that was missing from so much of my life, and now it's finally there again, which is amazing. And it sort of freed me up to have perhaps a little bit more confidence. Now that I'm not having to live with this mask and using all this energy just to be, just to pretend to be someone different to who I really am, I feel like I've got this whole renewed energy on life. Um, and so, yeah, I think that's really what's changed. Um, in terms of physical changes, I suppose there's a few, but probably not that many to write about. To be honest, the changes to my body, to my face, yeah, my hair's got a bit longer, but like the actual sort of physical changes, not really anything that significant, to be honest. Um, but in terms of sort of the emotional side of it, I mean, it's silly things like, a year down the line, most people are getting my name right now and getting my pronouns right and things like that, which is cool. It's just a nice feeling. I just sort of, I think that a year ago it all still felt very much like, oh, this is a long uphill struggle. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of uphill struggling left to do, but at the same time, I think I face it now with more hope than maybe I have in the past. So that's definitely been worth the trouble and the I don't want to say difficulty because I don't want to make it sound any more difficult than it has been, which is actually, it's been quite difficult. But it's not, it just pales in significance to actually how amazing it feels to finally just be able to sort of, do this and just to have a conversation as myself, with people I'm really sorry, guys. You're gonna have to excuse. It's been quite a long day, and my hair is an absolute disaster. That definitely hasn't changed. If there's one aspect of me that hasn't changed since I was tiny, and you can look at pictures of when I was a baby, my hair has been a disaster from day one, and it will be until the day that it's either all gone or I am. But it's nice that some things never change, and it's quite nice to have some consistency like that. So I don't know if that helps at all. You know, a really good friend of mine, somebody who I admire, who does so much for the community, but never mind that, has done just so much for me over the last few years. Um, I remember her repeatedly saying to me, "Give it a year, just give it a year." And I was like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I mean, like, 1 year is not going to make any difference. I'm going to feel this way forever. Everything's going to be hard forever. And I can assure you that a year down the line, honestly, it's like something just clicked, and my world is just a much brighter place. And it looks like it's going to get brighter, as opposed to what was quite a dark place some time ago. um, so yeah, I hope that helps a little bit. And if you are sitting there sort of early part of your journey, and you're sort of, thinking, oh my gosh, is it ever going to change? Well, yeah, it does. Honestly, it does get easier. It does get better. Um, in fact, that is the purpose of all of this, really. It's the whole reason that I do these videos and these blogs. And it's all I've ever wanted to say to anybody is, I'm not some celebrity. I haven't got any particular advantages. I'm not even, young anymore. Um, and so I like to think of myself as just quite a normal person, if you like, a normal person. And the purpose of this is to show that, even normal people, you don't have to be special to make a life that works. It just takes time, and yeah, definitely some effort as well. But it's not that. I've got to do something about this hair, guys. I've got to do something about it. I promise next time I will organize my life a little bit better and make a bit more effort. God, it sounds like the beginning, or it sounds like a year ago, doesn't it? I promise this time round I'm going to try harder. I hope that helps anyway, Samuel. Um, Margaret. Oh, it's Maggie. Oh, hi, Maggie. How are you? Um, oh, okay. Well, we got to hear from Maggie. So, how long was I waiting before I got my appointment letter from the GIC, and was there anything that helped make the wait easier? Um, okay, two questions. So, first one, how long did I wait? I assume you mean from the point I was referred. That was quite difficult, actually. Getting my referral was surprisingly difficult, because my GP had no idea how the referral process worked. So I had to coach them a little bit, and it took nearly a month to get them to do the referral from the point that I sat down with them. Um, and then I'm estimating now. I wish I'd written some more of these dates down. I think I've probably blogged bits of it over the years, to be honest. Um, I mean, it was probably about 8 weeks before I heard anything back at all from the GIC. And that was only after I chased them to make sure they had my referral. A good few months after that sort of 8 weeks or so, I chased them again to make sure that they had the paperwork back. There was an information pack that came out, and I completed as much of it as I could and sent it back. And yeah, I mean, it was another 2 months, and I hadn't heard a thing. So I called them and was told that they'd lost it, which, not ideal. So yeah, not ideal. But after I had a bit of a tantrum, I'm not going to lie. I didn't, totally lose it, but I had a little bit of a tantrum, and it turns out they hadn't lost it. They'd just sort of forgotten about it. But yeah, being realistic, you can expect to wait a good couple of months at the moment, at least, from that point that your referral goes off to the point that you hear anything. Don't hammer them. They are insanely busy and under-resourced. But at the same time, give it a couple of months, and if you haven't heard anything, it might be worth following it up. Hi. Oh, we've got another one. Hi. John, nice to meet you. How long did it take to get to where I am now? Oh God, 30 something years. I'm letting something you can guess that one for yourself. Um, but I suppose I mean, not wishing to sort of guess or go over the top of your question, but I would imagine you mean in terms of what would be my transition, and um, it's a different. There's different stages for this for me, and I think the first sort of, I mean, well, to like go from the beginning, I eventually came out to my wife nearly 5 years ago, maybe just over 5 years ago. Um, but in terms of sort of actually making a formal beginning a medical transition, we're talking approximately 13 months to this point, maybe 14 actually. I started my social transition quite a bit before my what would be a medical transition, and that included things like getting changing my appearance basically. I mean, my hair did not grow overnight, let's be honest, and I've been having laser on my face. um, High powered lasers burn in your face, the things we do, right? But yeah, no, I've been having that for just over 2 years, nearly 3 years, coming to think about it. Gosh, how time flies. um so yeah, I suppose really I probably started my transition 3 years ago, is probably a good time to say. But medically, more like yeah, between sort of a year and 18 months ago. Um, and changed my name legally. So the time that they're going to use to sort of calculate for my things like my gender recognition certificate, September last year. So yeah, we're talking about a year. Um, when I came out to my wife, how long after that do I go full time? About 3.5, 4 years, give or take. I think I'm not very good at adding it all up, and it's all a bit of a blur. Um, I mean, this phrase, this full-time phrase, I know what it means, and I think most people in the community know what it means, but I don't really like it. I mean, I didn't just suddenly start being me. There wasn't this period where I was like, sometimes I'm me and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I had to sort of, play a different role in life. Um, but when did I sort of finally say, right, enough is enough? I guess it would be, yeah, let's just for argument's sake, let's just call it a year. Um, in fact, I can remember certain dates. I came out to my parents, who were, you know, fairly late on to know. Obvious. My hair was getting quite long. My clothes had changed, and laser for some time by then. And I came out to them eventually in May 2018, on the 14th of May 2018 to be precise. Yeah, I suppose you could sort of say that was really the sort of the point where it was like, oh yeah, so hi world, this is me now. Um, but yeah, like I said, the full time, official full time, I think the date they take. Oh, did they have any idea? Um, yeah. In fact, the thing that sort of the catalyst that pushed me over the edge was, it wasn't, well, it was a bit of an argument with my mum, um, on the Friday before the Monday when I came out, and mostly because she was worried about me. I'll admit I got very, very depressed, and I thought I was hiding that depression a lot better than it turns out I was. People had noticed that I'd become quite distant, that I was very quiet and not involved in family situations, and everybody sort of knew something was going on. Um, and I did something that I'm not particularly proud of, to be honest. That my mum called me out on it. Um, and when she did, I denied it, outright denied it. Um, because, well, the truth is, it was about sort of 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was on my way to work, and I knew I couldn't deal with it there and then. There was just no way. It's like, if this has got to happen, then it's got to happen to a degree on my terms. And so, yeah, yeah, they all sort of knew what was going on, but it doesn't. I don't think it softened the blow much, to be honest. Um, was my wife supportive, and is my wife supportive? Um, I don't think the decision really comes into it. It's not really a choice for me, and I think that now that she's understood that, it's helped her to accept it. It would be remiss of me if I didn't, say there are some changes in the dynamic in our relationship. That's probably the best way to put it. At the end of the day, as far as my wife was concerned, she hadn't married a woman, and so that has been, and continues to be, to a degree. It does continue to be a challenge, but she's doing her best to support me in her way. Um, Oh, bless you, Liz. I'm not. And like they say, behind every strong seeming woman, there is a really good group text. And I'm so glad that you're a massive part of it. Thank you, Liz. Um, but no, Jonathan, no, I wouldn't say it was a decision at all. But to sort of rephrase perhaps your question and tell me if I'm going down the wrong route, um, is she supportive of my transition? Well, hell, she's still here, we're still married. Look, I've got a ring and everything. We're still married. And we still, live together, and we still are looking after and loving for our daughter, who incidentally is like by far and wide. Well, maybe, I mean, Liz probably is quite up there as well, but my daughter is by far and wide my biggest fan, and the most precious thing to me in the whole world, to be honest. Um, yeah, I don't know. We've been through some rough patches. I'd be lying if I said we hadn't had some tough times. And, who knows what tomorrow will bring? There may be some tough times on the horizon as well. But I'm not just going to sit here and panic about it. We'll just deal with it as it happens. See what happens and see how we go along. It's all we can really do. Um, so anyway, back on topic a little bit. The idea here is to open this up to as many people as possible. And where are we? We're just gone 7 o'clock. So I was trying to find a good time of day. I've done a few experiments with this via a Facebook group that I'm involved with. And eventually it sort of settled down to between sort of like 7 and 8 were quite good times. They're generally good times for posting on social media because it's that time everybody's just got home from work. Their phone's been in their desk drawer or whatever all day, and then they can sort of just quickly do that browsing the socials thing. So I thought this was quite a good time to get a hold of people. Evening, Anita. Hi, how are you? And once again, congratulations. So happy for you and Edna. That's amazing. Yeah, and so it developed naturally. And we've been trialing this as part of the admin process within the support group that I run, to try and get people's feedback on what they wanted from their support group. But there were a lot of transition related questions coming out of it. And those questions were coming from the people in that group who are either trans or have family that are trans or are genuine supporters and want to help. You're welcome, Anita. So yeah, the object of the exercise really is to find out what you guys want to know, and if I can't answer it right now, then I'm more than happy to do the homework and go away and come back and try and do what I can to help. Why am I doing this? I suppose if we look at that as a sort of ethical / philosophical question, I'm of an age where when I was growing up, things like this didn't exist. Oh, well, beside anything else, the technology wasn't there. I mean, there were chat rooms, but they were largely not particularly pleasant places, quite seedy, and being underage as well. Some of them were quite risky, and so I recall when I was a lot younger and I was looking for an understanding of what was happening with me. Oh my gosh, is there something wrong with me? That I couldn't find it. Now, that problem doesn't exist as much as it did. And indeed, I have used a lot of resources that I found online over the years to try and get a more solid understanding of my place in the world really, and what is happening to me or what is happening with me or who am I. Turns out, contrary to popular belief, there's not actually anything wrong with me. Well, I mean, there's a few things wrong with me, but we're not going to go down that route. But so I sort of thought, well, I just wish at the time when I was younger, there was someone there who I could just say, listen, I'm having these sort of feelings or this sort of problem. Can you help? And at the same time, I feel like it's quite important to have to be able to contact normal normal people, um, who can just put that little bit of perspective onto life and say, "Actually, you know what? You don't have to be." No offense to her, but you don't have to be Caitlyn Jenner with millions of pounds to make a transition. You don't have to be in film or television or rich or famous or any of that. I'm just a frankly fairly boring middle-aged woman, with a dull office job, which actually is not that dull. I enjoy my job. I'm not knocking it, and I'm very lucky to actually have a job. I know a lot of people haven't, so I shouldn't knock it. Um, but it's a normal sort of job. It's nothing special, and nor am I. I'm just here as proof that not only does transition, um, not only can transition work for you, but it's it's quite literally saved my life. Yeah, video quality is probably a bit ropey. I'm looking at the stream now, Anita. I don't know, is the audio quality any good, guys? I don't know if it's the video or if it's my face actually. A few things are a bit ropey. Maybe I'll try and move a bit less. Um, or I don't know if I can drop the frame rate a bit. This is a bit of an experiment, to be honest with you. Um, in fact, at risk of being massively unprofessional, give me 2 seconds because I think I can probably boost the signal quality just a tiny bit. Hang on, because I can possibly wait 1 second. Okay, right. This might sound stupid, but my Wi-Fi quality changes depending how many doors are open or closed in my house. So I've opened a few more, and we'll see if that helps. If not, sorry, I'll try and get a better connection, and I'll try and do this wired next time. Which is, I shouldn't have committed to that. I'll figure something out. I'll figure something out. I always figure something out. Took me long enough to figure this out. This was really complicated. Um, oh, oh, Samuel, that's really sweet. I'm really pleased. And you know what? I don't think it was sort of me making you realize that. I think you probably just realized that for yourself. I mean, what's the best way to explain it? Like you asked, I think it was you that asked at the beginning, what's changed? It's like, yeah, everything's changed, but nothing's changed. Life's still normal. I No, she's not Anita, she's not even here. She's got a better social life than me. Well, than any of us by the look of it. She's out and about actually today. She's at Brownies. So yeah, it's not her fault. I'm not blaming her for this one for a change. Um, but Samuel, the point is, um, yeah, life just goes on. It does just carry on sort of after transition. Um, and I'm using that phrase. I'm using that phrase after transition because I have transitioned. Now, I know some people look at it by saying, um, "Oh, once you've had a medical transition," which isn't necessarily the case for a lot of people. Some people choose never to have even cross-sex hormone therapy. Some people choose never to have gender confirmation surgery, be that chest or lower surgery. And that doesn't mean that they can't transition. Transition for me is definitely been this 90% the social side of it. And another 90% of that 90% has been up here for me. as opposed to, the external side of it. Expression and transition for me are two very different things. Um, but anyway, that's why I say as far as I'm concerned, I'm post-transition. I have transitioned. I am, not in transition anymore. Yes, I'm still waiting for a few things. I'm still very much waiting for my surgery, which I've chosen to have. Um, but I'm not letting it get in the way. I'm not letting it stop me from living my life. You know, I mean, because in reality, it hasn't. I mean, there's very few things that I can't do. Um, sorry. The professionalism is astounding, isn't it? There's very few things that I can't do because I haven't had surgery. You know, what does it actually stop me from doing? Even swimming. Swimming. Okay, swimming. It's fine. I've got a little sort of modesty swim skirt that I wear, but I swim and it's okay. Is anyone else having trouble with the video stream? Because I'm looking at the stream output and it does look a bit ropey, actually. I think that's what it is. It might be me. It's really hard to tell. How many people are watching? Oh, we've got seven people. Well, that's quite good. It's a start, right? Um, what I will do is when this is yeah, sorry, I'll try and work on it. Um, yeah, I don't know quite how I'm gonna change that. It was better earlier, was it? Oh, okay. Um,